If Om Shanti Om, with its masala elements, multilinear narrative structures, and tongue-in-cheek satire of the Hindi film industry were to be reimagined for a modern audience, then Aryan Khan's The Bads of Bollywood is a strong contender for what it would look like. The basic premise of the show centers around Asman Singh, a newcomer who has a difficult time navigating the industry due to his inability to compromise his morals for an industry that demands the individual to leave his ethics at the front door. We follow him as he tries to break out of a 3-film exclusive deal with Sodawala Productions so that he can star in a Karan Johar film alongside Karishma Talwar, who he grows to fall in love with despite his initial disdain. What I found interesting from a narrative point of view was that the series starts in the middle of things. We aren't shown Asman's rise to stardom. We don't see his struggle in audition rooms as he eventually books Revolver, the film that makes him a household name, nor does the series focus on his move from Delhi to Mumbai. Instead, the series starts with Asman having already booked and filmed Revolver, and so the rest of the series focuses on the success of the film as well as its reception by the industry. As a result, this narrative structure throws us off guard right from the start, and therefore allows us to share in the same feeling of intensity that Asman experiences when he becomes a household name overnight. Another standout for me were the subplots and side characters, which kinda trumped the main characters and storyline. A personal favourite was Jiraj Saxena, played by Rajat Bedi, an out-of-work actor whose appearance in the series is completely absurd and lends to the series' goal of not taking itself too seriously. Another standout performance comes from Raghav Juyal, who plays Parvez, Asman's camp, down-to-earth and witty friend whose presence in scenes stops certain dynamics from falling into stale cliches. Take the intimacy coordination episode starring the king of intimacy, Imran Hashmi. During this scene, Karishma and Asman undergo an intimacy workshop with Hashmi to ensure they're comfortable being intimate with one another in front of camera. This episode had the potential to fall stale, boring and predictable, and it certainly did get this way during the end when Karishma and Asman are locked out of the room by a frustrated Hashmi to consider why they lack chemistry. Surprise, surprise, the key to intimacy is emotional connection, who would have guessed? However, the only thing that kinda saves the episode is Parvez, who turns into quite the fangirl around Hashmi, giving the most hilarious and awkward rendition of Kaho Na Kaho, completely straight-faced. Hashmi was also brilliant in this episode, leaning into Parvez's adoration of him. Another standout performance was given by Rajat Bedi, who plays Jiraj Saxena, a once relevant actor who since clings to any means of relevance with which to make a comeback and once again rise to the top. Jiraj's story finds some similarities with Bedi's own journey in Bollywood, having been sidelined for many years due to bad choices, trusting the wrong people, and just plain bad luck. What most people seemed to enjoy about the series was that it didn't take itself too seriously. When I first saw the trailer for the series and saw how star-studded the cast was, I did, like many, wonder whether it was a gimmick or whether the stars would have an actual purpose within the narrative. Having watched this series, I can say for certain that the star cameos did serve a narrative purpose. This purpose being that the stars played exaggerated versions of themselves, leaning into the public's perception of them, all in the name of good harmless fun. Aryan doesn't exclude himself from this public beating, but leans into it too, addressing things such as his poker face in pictures, as well as his drug scandal. I am in no way a prude, but I did think that some of the profanity and sexual scenes felt superfluous and served no real purpose other than to make Aryan look edgy and mature as a writer. Some of the sexual nature and profanity did work and did have a place, namely the sexual jokes shared between Asman and Parvez, which were justified as they presented a realistic depiction of how young people talk to one another in the modern age, which a lot of older directors and writers just don't understand. But besides this, the constant use of the F-word, which seemed to be employed in every other line, was mere filler to distract us from the very mediocre and basic dialogue. The product placement in the series was obvious, repetitive, and distracting. Most of it appeared in the final episodes set in the Dilwar household bedrooms, where shopping bags from luxury jewelry brands were conveniently positioned in the background. These bags seemed deliberately highlighted, either through lighting or editing, making them impossible to ignore and pulling focus away from the rest of the scene. Product placement is always a tricky balance because if it's too obvious then it's distracting for the audience, as was the case, but if it's too subtle, so as not to be seen, then sponsors aren't happy. So, to quote an exhausted cliche, it is what it is. I personally love the ending and its mixture of the absurd and the dramatic. Aryan does a great job at neatly tying the loose ends while making it seem that he has completely lost control. The commendable thing about the series is that Aryan Khan didn't play it safe, which is what a lot of star kids are accused of doing when they make their start in the industry, often starring in mega blockbuster films conveniently produced or directed by a close family friend or other. If the series had been unconventional and unoriginal, Aryan would have been accused of playing it safe despite having had all the resources and connections to experiment and bring something new to the table, which I believe has been done in this series. Overall, it's a commendable debut with a balanced mixture of satire, the dramatic, and the absurd. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe for more film content. Bye.